Hey, what's up everybody? So, as you are reading the title of this video, I'm sure you are wondering what the hell this is. So, here's the story of Spartan Super Soldier. Spartan Super Soldier was a series that back in the day I began, and it was a machinima on Halo Reach, back in the day when Halo Reach was sort of the heyday. I loved it, and I loved the machinima. It was clearly inspired by Red vs. Blue, and I wanted to tell a long-form series in an epic scale that I couldn't with Nerf videos and stuff, and Halo Reach and machinima and stuff was the best way to do it. It was an insane amount of work to make the episodes that I did, and obviously I slowed down over the years, and it took me longer and longer to make the episodes until finally episode 8 blew up to be a 43-minute video, something like that. It was in the 40s. I made that during college, and while I was making, I realized I can't make this anymore because at this point it is so much work to tell the story that it would need to make money. Like, I would need it to be my job, basically. It like cannot be a hobby. That sucked, obviously, because I hate having series that I've made that then I never finish. And I had a lot of story planned. Like, a lot of people ask, like, hey, can't you just like tell us the rest? And it's like, there's like so much to it, and that would just be cheap just to like say how everything ends, because that's not the point of the story. Like, the point is the story itself. Like, obviously the ending would be amazing if you guys got to know, but I wouldn't want you to know it unless you knew everything before it, and we actually went on the journey of the story that I would have shown you guys. The reality is we will never get the actual Spartan Super Soldier episode 9. That really won't happen, but we can get something close to it. I've seen videos on YouTube that sort of give off this same feeling where people explain stories sort of in this like audiobook format, maybe with little animated clips, stuff like that. It kind of works as like, oh, this is like a story and I'm sort of experiencing it. It's sort of like an audiobook in a way. And I thought I want to try that out because episode 9's dope. I've gone through and revised the story that I wrote years ago and sort of polished things up, but at the same time, it's still the story that I had planned. It still pays off things from previous episodes. Like, this is still Spartan Super Soldier. It's just better because it's 24-year-old Chris writing it instead of the 16, 18-year-old. So we're going to do a little experiment today. I'm going to read to you the outline of Spartan Super Soldier episode 9, and it will be accompanied by animated clips and pictures and stuff, fun visuals to go along with my narration. So let's do this. This is Spartan Super Soldier episode 9. We begin on the map Highlands. The outpost is run by a dozen or so Spartans. Everything is quiet and normal until the battalion of elites are spotted. Battle stations. Fight ensues, with the elites easily winning. With the base about to fall, one last dying soldier reaches the command console and sends out a distress signal before he is slain. The distress signal flies through the clouds until reaching a warthog. The camera pans up. Daniel. He tells the group to saddle up. They're not going home just yet. At Alpha Base, Chris and Jordan greet Alex as he returns through the teleporter. Chris demands to know why Alex told Command what happened. Turns out, Sergeant Camden couldn't make the decision. Alex explains that it just had to be done. Command will decide now. Sean then returns and is pissed off. Even though Corell pointed his gun at him, the situation doesn't look good. All they need to do is wait for Corell to return with General Weiler's decision. As Alex walks away, Chris asks him, how fair is General Weiler? He responds, as fair as he needs to be. Bum, bum, bum. Meanwhile, Delta Squad reaches the remote outpost on Highlands. It's quiet. No bodies to be seen, apparently. Sensing the danger, Daniel tells his team to stay put while he searches. Mike, pissed that this is just how it always goes, tells him why not send some of them in? So Daniel agrees. Spencer, Nathan, check the east side. Robbie, stay here with Mike. Of course. While waiting, Robbie prods Mike for answers on what Daniel told him from the last episode about his backstory. But for once, Mike acts mature and keeps it a secret. Daniel looks through the base and still nothing. He senses a presence nearby though. As Spencer and Nathan reach the east side, they spot a few elites. They sneak in to see more, but end up trapped, surrounded by an entire battalion of elites. Back at Alpha Base, Chris explains the situation to Riley to the best of his abilities. Riley, always looking for the bright side, tells Chris that he's made progress on his shooting, but he still hasn't hit anything yet, so alright. Corell arrives through the teleporter though. Sean is near.
You are done.
Excuse me?
You heard me. Pack your things and go.
Fuck this. Sean leaves. Chris yells at Corell, yet Corell warns him if he disobeys another order, he could be the next to be removed. As he leaves, Chris goes to follow but is stopped by Alex.
Chris, you still need help with that backup teleporter?
Meanwhile, with Delta Squad, Spencer radios Daniel for help. Daniel spots a battalion. It's too much for them to handle. He comes up with a plan. He'll cause a distraction so they can escape, meet back at the Warthog, and drive the hell out of there. Back to Robbie and Mike. Robbie is continuing to pester Mike, of course, yet we hear familiar breathing nearby. Daniel creates an explosion in the distance. As some elites leave, Spencer and Nathan wait, then sneak out. While all this is going off, Mike and Robbie are suddenly attacked by Vader. Robbie radios Daniel for help. Daniel hears leaving the elites to rescue Mike and Robbie. This screws up the plan, and Spencer and Nathan get caught and end up cornered and fail to reach the Warthog. Mike desperately tries to fight Vader but fails. Robbie, being a hero, intervenes and protects him, but only for a brief moment before he is slashed and knocked unconscious. Just as Mike is about to be taken by Vader, Daniel arrives. Bum, bum, bum. Vader turns to face him. For the first time in years, Daniel pulls out his energy sword. He orders Mike to take Robbie and get out of there. As Mike leaves with Robbie, the two rivals finally duel, and it is epic. They're perfectly matched in every skill. After a good hit by Daniel, Vader turns invisible. Daniel laughs.
That's a neat little trick. I can do it too.
At Alpha Base, Alex helps Chris build the backup teleporter. They discuss the lack of leadership in Alpha Squad, how Camden's incompetent and Corell is selfish and too strict. Hate the guy all you want, but he knows how to get the job done when needed. If only Command would recognize that. Maybe he would chill out and not be so jealous of Camden. Alex then reminisces about their old sergeant before Camden, who was exceptional and the best leader he could have ever asked for. Chris asks what happened to him. Alex reveals that their past sergeant died, and it was all because he let his emotions take over. Love, hate, jealousy, whatever it is, if you lose sight of the mission, you die. Then, for the first time in the series, Alex opens up. Chris finds out that Alex once had a woman he wanted to marry, but she died. It haunts him to this day, but he refuses to let it take over. All that matters is the mission. Everyone has stuff they're dealing with. He can sympathize with Corell on that, but if Corell loses focus of the mission, he can lose everything. And these are just the lessons that you learn being in the UNSC and risking your life to help people. And with that, the teleporter is complete. Chris thanks Alex. He learned a lot about leadership and the history of Alpha Squad. Now time to go talk to their current sergeant. Back to Delta Squad, they're in a mess right now. Mike and Robbie link up with Spencer and Nathan. Robbie, he's awake now, but still pretty hurt. They fight off whatever they can, and they try to reach the Warthog, but no, they can't get to it. They need their sergeant. Back to Daniel and Vader, both invisible. It's quiet. Who will strike first? We see some grass, brush, and movement stop, then slash! Their blades meet. The duel continues, but Daniel is slowly getting overpowered. Spencer radios Daniel for help. They need him or they won't reach the Warthog. Daniel realizes that he's just completely abandoned his team and they're about to be killed. He manages to avoid an attack by Vader and dash away, drawing some gunfire his way. This gives Delta Squad the chance to break out and rush for the Warthog. But Daniel suddenly gets jumped by Vader and Slash. Mike stops to witness Daniel fall off the cliff. No! They get into the Warthog and begin to drive away when suddenly, blam, their vehicle gets blasted. They jump out just in time to see it blow up. No escape for them now. We now turn to Officer Richard, who is with Eclipse in the simulation room. We get a little bit of dialogue with Richard asking Eclipse if he knows anything about who could have let the elite into the medical ward. Before anything can be said though, they receive a call. Sword Base is under attack. They demand any assistance from the elite squads and head out. At Alpha Base, Chris meets with Camden. Camden admits he knows he's a bad leader and shouldn't be in charge of Alpha Squad. He was only appointed after the previous one died. Corell should have been appointed since he's been around longer, but Command chose Camden for some reason. Never really did anything to change it because it's an easy gig. Corell does everything for him. All he's really good at is just killing. Chris hints that he should at least try to lead Alpha Squad. Hello. At that moment, Corell barges in and announces Sword Base is under attack. They've been called to assist, and it looks bad. Everyone bands together and look to Camden, who looks like he's about to give some kind of epic sergeant leadership level speech. But after pause, he just says, "All right, let's go." Not very inspiring. Back to Delta Squad, they are screwed right now. Pinned down, their sergeant presumed dead, and no way to escape. Their best bet is to steal one of the ghosts and flee, but they know not all of them can make it. Spencer tells Mike he knows the Covenant really want him because he's a survivor from the Skylark attack, so he devises a plan. They draw gunfire, he sprints away and hopefully reaches the ghost to escape. Things look dire, but there's no other option. They count. 1, 2, 3, go! All three fire at the enemy. Mike sprints out, taking down a few in his path. He manages to escape their gunfire, and Delta Squad draws the rest of them. We watch an elite pull out a fuel rod cannon and aim it at Delta Squad, and fire. Mike turns back to witness the green ball explode. He screams once again. The enemy notice him and give chase. He He rushes to the ghost, but it gets blasted away. He runs towards the cliff and stops at the edge, nowhere to go. Suddenly, a familiar breathing comes up behind him. Vader pulls out his energy sword and goes to strike. Mike has no choice but to jump. And that is how we end Spartan Super Soldier Episode 9. So what do you guys think? What did you think of Episode 9 and sort of this new way that I'm telling the story? Because this is, admittedly, like, this is a way for me to actually tell you guys this story, and I think it's really exciting that I get to tell you this, because I really want to know what you guys think, and I've had this story in my brain for years upon years, and there's so many little things and payoffs in future episodes that have been planned since 2013. I don't even know when I started the series, but episode 9, if I could give a sort of behind the scenes commentary about it, episode 9 really is just about leadership and sort of the lack thereof, the idea of what does it take to be a good leader and why certain people are in the position and why some people maybe have potential but they fail in certain ways. That's really what's going on with a lot of the storyline in episode 9. The other idea is digging two graves that rivals can face off and people can suffer because of it. Obviously, the main title is attributed to Daniel facing off against Vader, but at the same time you also have a sort of face-off with Corell and Sean at the end of episode 8, and we have the outcome of that with Sean being removed from Alpha Squad and Corell seeming to get nothing, but at the same time probably being put on a watch list. Like, if he screws up, then that's it. Title character Chris, he hasn't done a whole lot the sort of second act of the season, basically episodes 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's what I consider the second act. He's sort of taken a bit of a backseat in these last several episodes, because clearly, you know, he is the main character, and the first 5 episodes were all about him. Mike wasn't in for most of it. Episode 5 proved that Chris can possibly lead, and he can be a good soldier, but, you know, he's in no position to actually be a leader at all. This act has been all about him just learning about Alpha Squad and all of that, and who is he in this squad. On the other side, you have Mike, who is being thrust into warfare, but not honestly in a scarier situation than Chris was in the first several episodes, because at this point now, is Delta Squad dead? I don't know. Is Daniel dead? Like, everything just went to shit in an instant with Mike and his team. They just got here and now everything's falling apart. Like, what the hell is Mike gonna do? He is jumping off a cliff, running away from, like, the most dangerous villain we've seen so far. Like, he is screwed. That is the rundown of Spartan Super Soldier and episode 9. So please post a comment. Let me know if you liked this episode. What was your favorite part about it? Any sort of notes or stuff that would be cool for future videos like this. Obviously, I can't do machinima. Voice actors, you know, are long gone by now. Like, this is pretty much the format that I would work with if this does well. Would you like more detail with the way that I explained this? Was this too short or was it too long? You know, whatever. Just tell me stuff. Thank you very much for watching. Share it with everyone who still remembers Spartan Super Soldier and always wondered why episode 9 never came out, because this is the closest you'll get. That is it for this video. See you guys later. Bye.